two managers greet each other, and Alec Ferguson has done something never previously achieved. And Norman Davies, his kit manager, retires now after 24 years, again with the winning side. But Eric Cantona, the lonely figure who walked around this stadium 12 months ago, has been the man of the hour again. I remember saying then he owed it both to himself and to the club to prove he was a man to come back and play for United. My heaven, how he's done that. The deserved footballer of the year and the scorer of the winning goal that gives Alec Ferguson the double-double. Disappointed faces from a disappointing team. John Barnes led a side which was almost unrecognisable from the side that has thrilled so often this season, and what has been a very good season. Ian Rush has played his last game in Liverpool colours and really hardly got a touch after coming on as a substitute. Looked as though the story might be set up for him, but it wasn't. It was set up for a Frenchman who wants to stay here, and all credit to Andy Cole, who personally must be disappointed, but for his club is delighted. Steve Bruce there at the back too, disappointed to have missed out, the club captain. Simple statistic, one goal scored by Cantona. Everything drained away from Liverpool.
You've got to congratulate Manchester United, haven't you? When you think Mark Hughes, Andre Conchelsea and Paul Ince was sold at the start of the season, and here they are with that group of players that hasn't been strengthened, celebrating the double, and the youngsters did them proud today.
Waiting to talk to us is the manager who's achieved the double-double.
I can't believe that it ever gets much better than this.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I'm so proud of him. Oh, fabulous day for us. Fabulous day.
And have you had a more influential player this season than the goal scorer, Eric Cantona?
No, I don't think so. I thought he was quiet today, but his goal, magnificent composure and accuracy. But marvellous. I thought for me, Roy Keane was the best man in the park. I thought he was absolutely magnificent.
He was Trevor Brookings' man of the match, actually, too.
Yeah, no surprise.
Did you think a goal was coming?
No. No, it had to be something like that. In fairness, their goalkeepers had two magnificent saves. Whereas Peters had nothing to do, really. You know, at the end of his shots.
Well, it's not new to you, but we've seen from your reaction how much all this still means to you.
Oh, it's fabulous. I'm so proud.
Alex Rodden.
How can he be left out of the French squad is my thought about Eric Cantona. But first, it is the losers who climb the steps to receive their consolation medals. But as they go up, let's have a word with Eric Cantona.
Is this the best moment of your Manchester United career?
It was important. After I've done the double 2 years ago, again this season, it's a great moment. Now we can go on holiday and have a nice holiday.
And what a contrast for you from 12 months ago.
Yeah, that's life, up and down. But
thanks for joining us. Congratulations.
I don't know where the seagulls are, but he's certainly flying high. But now, disappointed and disappointing Liverpool side. They pass their chairman, David Moores. Collect their medals. John Barnes does have one winning success. Bill Babb starting with the losers. Jason McAteer, Mark Wright, who knows what it's like to win. Feel sorry for David James, who did make a quite brilliant save that denied Cantona, but in the end Cantona had the last say. How often that's been the case. And finally, Ian Rush, with his last appearance, goes down the steps as a loser, but so often in his life and his career he's been a winner. Steve Bruce, well, there's a little debate there about who's going to go up and get the cup. Nice touch. I may be club captain, says Steve Bruce. How typical of the man, but it's your day. There waits the Littlewood-sponsored FA Cup. A very proud Frenchman leads the way. Joy upon joy for him. Take up hand from Duke and Duchess, and the Duchess hands the cup for Manchester United to take back to Old Trafford, applauded by the losers. Martin Edwards, the Manchester United chairman, with a word in Cantona's ear. Young David Beckham, Gary Neville just got on at the end. Gary Pallister, who's seen it all before. Nicky Butt, a loser last year, a winner this time. Paul Scholes, likewise. Andy Cole, who was cup-tied last year, gets a winner's medal. Not too sure about Paul Scholes' hat. Ryan Giggs, full of smiles. Well, he's won it all in this country. Now the challenge is to Europe. And I think that he will allow himself more than a brief few seconds to enjoy this victory. Let's assume he can hang on to the cup. It's not the traditional way to carry the cup down. Tommy Docherty put the top on his head. He declines to do that and probably is a good judge. Everybody wants to congratulate Sir Bobby Charlton there. It is a remarkable achievement. Disappointing finale as far as the football match was concerned, but not in the final outcome, as suggested at the start. In the end, for supporters, it's the result, not the manner of its achievement, which counts. He's having a real problem getting through the crowd. Well, that's the sort of problem you get when you've had a double-double. Steve McManaman, who was man of the match last two occasions at Wembley, not today. And Robbie Fowler looking at a loser's medal and probably saying to himself, I'll be back one day for a winner's. The cup is back together, and the manager, showing good speed, joins his youngsters and his experienced players, who together have formed a team that was so doubted at the start of the season. He made room for the youngsters by getting rid of some famous names, and he ends up by winning both. And a side captained by Eric Cantona, I can't think of another foreigner other than those from the Republic of Ireland who've had that privilege. Manchester United's day at the end, as the song says, they are the champions, they're also the cup winners. What a contrast as John Barnes walks away. Still packed at the Manchester United end, and rightly so. Ooh, Cantona. Many would have said it as the ball dropped to him. And back it went, destined to find its way through the crowd. Life plays strange tricks, and he's known the downs, and now he can enjoy a considerable up. Mass ranks of those who go to Old Trafford, and in contrast, it's pretty empty at the Anfield end. It's never easy to be the losing manager, particularly the first time round, and particularly when you wanted to win it for the late Bob Paisley. But that's been the fate of Roy Evans today, and here he is talking to Ray Stubbs.
Roy, your assessment of your team's performance, first of all, please.
I thought we were pretty poor in the first half. I thought we took a long time to get into the game. But second half, I thought we got into it well, and it was obviously very disappointing to lose a late goal.
It wasn't a classic game. Everyone seemed very nervous.
Yeah, I think so. Certainly in the first half, everyone was very edgy, and these games often don't live up to their potential.
Having started not so well and then clawing a little back, did you think you might just have something to pinch it in the second half?
Well, you think that, you know, we got more in the game, we were starting to get a bit more freedom, Mackie was starting to get a bit freer. It wasn't to be.
And then the goal towards the end, obviously it's very disappointing for you, but what would you say about Manchester United?
Well, again, they've had a fantastic season, they've got 2 trophies. What more can you say about them? They've got to give them credit. Very disappointed, but we'll be right on their tails next season.
Well, you've learnt a lot from this season, no doubt. The challenge is set, I would imagine.
Well, the challenge is set, but we've got to improve. We'll come back and make sure that we're the ones that are going on there and enjoying ourselves.
And you'll get your players to bounce back. What will you do now?
Well, we've had a fantastic season. We'll give them credit for that. They'll be disappointed, and you know, we'll all be like that. But they've got plenty to look forward to, and we'll be back.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Frenchman still leads his troops around. It's a celebration for him for his 30th birthday on Friday week. I wonder whether he knows that. Send him a card. It's a birthday today and every day at the moment for Alec Ferguson, and it really would be nice if Manchester United can mount a challenge in Europe, as indeed the other clubs who will contest European competition next season. The Onion Man arrived. Where's the bicycle? Liverpool, of course, will also be in European competition next season in the Cup Winners' Cup, and will play a lot better than they played today. Poignant moment for Norman Davis, because he retires now as the kit man. Won't seem the same in that dressing room without him around. This is what will be remembered. The closing moments, the disappointing game that we have, I'm tempted to say, endured, is something of the past. He's forgotten his disappointment now. The name is on the cup. The name is there as champions. Balancing it rather better than Tommy Docherty managed back in '77. And my God, it's been a good day as far as he's concerned. They don't want them to go. Manchester United's 14th final in all. Now 9 wins and 5 defeats. It's a new record. They've surpassed the performance of Tottenham Hotspur. And the United team being applauded all around the ground by both sets of supporters, the Liverpool people who remained as well. Those though. Would you get dressed up like that for any other sport other than football? A few lifelong friendships have been forged in the crowd, I would think, because they were there the day that this man atoned for a past error in a moment of madness in which it's quite clear now he was thoroughly provoked. What a man he's proved himself to be. Well, let's talk to more of the winners. Gary Pallister's the first.
You've been involved in so many Manchester United triumphs now. Where does this one rank?
It's probably, I mean, obviously, it was a great achievement. You know, people maybe said that this team couldn't do it this year with the youngsters that were coming into the side. But they grew up the club, they knew what it was all about, and no, I'm especially pleased for them today.
It's quite a low-key build-up, I thought, to the match on Manchester United's behalf. A quiet determination.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing was that we won the championship last week. I mean, that put us in a great state for today's game. We suffered the disappointments of last year, losing the league and the FA Cup, but it gives us an added strength maybe this year to go on one better.
Just a quick word about your best mate, Steve Bruce, who let Eric Cantona go up to receive the trophy.
Well, that's Steve Bruce. It's typical of him, you know. I mean, he's been a great servant. I'm sure it was a really difficult decision for the manager today to leave Steve out of the game and not on the bench. You know, I mean, he's had his problems with his injury over the last few weeks. I know more about injuries this year than anybody else, and I mean, I feel for Steve. I've roomed with him the last couple of days, and I know how disappointed he is, but you know, he's enjoyed it as much as the rest of us, and that's why he's a great guy, and he's been a great example for the club.
Thank you very much indeed, Gary. I'll bring in Roy Keane. Trevor Brooking's selection of man of the match, and more importantly, Alex Ferguson thought you were Manchester United's best player too.
Well, it doesn't really matter who was the best player as long as we won the cup, especially to win the double again twice in the last 3 years.
It was a pretty tight competitive affair for the most part, wasn't it?
It was always going to be a close game. Obviously, the outsiders always thought it would be a classic, but we knew, you know, probably one goal would win it. And fortunate enough, Eric got it for us.
I think the general feeling is that Manchester United played better in the first half than the second.
Well, we started off well, but you know, Liverpool are a quality team. They came back into it probably the last 20 minutes in the first half. But we always, you know, they had a lot of possession, but they were never really going to hurt us. We always felt that, you know, if we got a chance, you know, we take it. And as I said, fortunately enough, I felt Eric, who's, you know, is quite good in the big matches.
Yeah, it's just a word about that man's influence on your entire season.
Well, Eric's been fantastic, you know, since he came back from his ban. Imagine what we could have done last year if he played for us, you know, until his ban. But, you know, it's not just a one-man team. You know, the rest of us help Eric to get into the position to score. And luckily enough, Eric always seems to take the chances.
Roy, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Well, it was a poor FA Cup final in 1996, but try telling that to the impersonation, those who would impersonate Eric Cantona and those who came here to support Manchester United. The record books will show that they've now won the FA Cup more than any other club in the country. The record books will show that they are the first to win the double-double. It's been Manchester United's day. It's been Eric Cantona's day. 1-0 again is the score which decides the FA Cup final. One enough, but they don't give a damn about that.
Well, there's no doubt that Roy Keane's the master of the understatement there, isn't he, when he suggests that Eric Cantona's quite good in the big games. But what a story in the end. I mean, it was extraordinary, wasn't it?
He was the man. I mean, it was a poor final. It started badly and fell away, I thought, but United were definitely the better side. Liverpool came back in at the second half, but never threatened Peter Schmeichel. I think if you look at Liverpool's performance, you'd say only 2 or 3 players played to their potential, and that's not enough when you're playing against quality opposition in a major final.
The chance,
magnificent achievement by Manchester United.
Yeah, and the chance that fell to Cantona, it was, I mean, it took ultimate skill.
Call it a chance, Des.
Well,
it was such a difficult ball to strike. Hit on target. You need a bit of luck to go through that amount of players. But again, what a story for Cantona, and to come back. The game needed something like that because by and large it had been poor. But fabulous achievement first team to win 2 doubles. Even he's not done that.
And Roy Keane, undoubtedly man of the match, Jim. I mean, we were all agreed on that, weren't we? You know,
tremendous
a little bit, temperament problem a tiny bit, but
no. He
play.
has that, and he knows he's got it. I mean, but he's got. If it takes as long as it did for Cantona for him to overcome it, I mean, hopefully. He's not going to make the play that he can, but I think he's learning, and I think United's the place to learn. You know, that kind of thing. You get your reward. You win trophies, and the world loves you. And it must be much more pleasant like that to be looked upon than a villain who, at the slightest chance, will wrap somebody around the shins.
Well, we waited an awful long time for the goal, so we ought to have a look at it again at least 3 more times, I would have thought. Alan, do you want to have a...
The goalkeeper has been superb up to this point, but he comes a long, long way. Gets a punch on it, obviously he's out his goals, the ball falls nicely, but Cantona has a great position to hit it, and these defenders will look at that and think, one of you should have cleared it.
It bounced off Rush, didn't it?
Yeah, we see it from the reverse angle. James, he does that, he comes out too often. I like keepers that stay on the line because you're always going to have the chance if it's headed towards goal or shot towards goal, but wonderful strike, and it wasn't an easy ball to hit.
As I watch this, I'm just thinking, I know he's a Frenchman, the French don't want to use him. I wonder if we can find an English grandfather and adopt him into our international team at the earliest possible moment. A wonderful strike, positions himself well. He wasn't perfectly placed for that. Nice little footwork back and whack.
Liverpool will be wondering why they didn't have anybody on the edge of the box here, because normally before the game, when they talk about set plays, somebody on the edge of the box all the time, but you can't deny the strike was perfect.
It takes great skill to do that, doesn't it, to hit a ball like that?
Technique it is. You know, the guy's got great technique. You know, it's come to him, he's got a good position to hit it, and he's kept it down, and it's flew in the back of the net.
It's quite a good player.
Not bad. Yeah,
Roy Keane thinks so, yeah.
Not bad.
Alex Ferguson, what about his accomplishments with this club? I mean, quite extreme. He had three or so leanish years, didn't he, when he started, and there were question marks over his career there and all that sort of stuff, but ever since, I mean,
think what
number of trophies.
It does show that if you feel you've got a good manager, then you've got to persist with him and be a little bit patient, because not many chairmen are, and not many supporters are. But Alex has done a wonderful job. I mean, nobody's ever done this before, so, I mean, he has to go right up there with the great names of football management, without doubt.
You go back to the 3 players he sold in the summer. I mean, I, along with a lot of people, thought that they couldn't do it, but they've come and proved everybody wrong. And again, the kids will only go from strength to strength, and the rest of the league must be worried. The rest of the Premiership must be worried about Manchester United.
It's a great bonus to find kids like that, is it? When you think the 2 most expensive players on the park were the 2 that were actually taken off.
They were taking off. I mean, but it's fantastic to get 2 or 3 of them, but to get 5 of them and bring them all through at the one time into the same team. And tremendous credit to the kids, because when the big games came, they came good for the team.
As Cantona himself said in that interview earlier today, now they've got to do it in Europe, though, Jim, haven't they? They've got to find the appropriate tactics to play in Europe at the highest level.
It's all part of the learning experience, and you can only win the competitions you're in. And this year, they've won both the competitions that they were in this country, and the kids move on to learn a little more and hopefully win a little more on behalf of all of us, really.
If they can keep that side together, and maybe Alex in the summer will go and look and strengthen his squad, then they've got a realistic chance in the Champions League next season.
Would you expect him to strengthen that squad?
I think he'll try and strengthen his squad, and he'll also think a little bit about changing the way they play, because everybody now knows that. And in Europe, you have to be a little brighter and tactically a little bit cleverer to achieve things. And I think that he can probably experiment a little bit. He can afford to do that, especially at the start of next season. I think we've shown that to be successful, we've got to tactically change a little.
Yes. What about the occasion here today, Jim? You felt it was all a bit low-key, a bit quiet, both before the match and for a long time during the match.
Yes. I mean, I just wonder, it's expensive to come to the cup final, and I'm wondering whether we're going back to a time like it used to be, where it was quiet and the real fans don't come in for a day out. You know, it's a totally different atmosphere I found today. Sedate, no trouble, but not quite the fizz and effervescence that we've known in the past.
Nonetheless, it was a great occasion, and no doubt once again that man, Cantona, was king. We'll see you for Match of the Day later, that it was Cantona's day.
What can I say? I respect them very much, I love them. But last season, for 8 months, I never stopped to sing, even 15 seconds in a game, but they thought about it.
I will never forget it, never. And I will try to give them the pleasure they need to receive every time.
James gets there just first. Cantona!